Morning, Oj. If anybody grew up in the era that you and I did, they surely recognize that little theme song intro we played at the beginning here today. One of our lifetime heroes is no longer with us.
Yeah, that was when you put up iconic characters from sitcoms from our day right into the, well, I mean, that was a mid-'80s show, right, starting even?
Yeah.
Something like that, up and through the college days. Cheers was as good as it gets, and might not be a better character than Mr. Norm Peterson.
Did you know his name was George Wendt? Do you think, how many times do you think he went anywhere and people called him Norm?
But the other part about him, you know, he had that little Saturday Night Live skit too with the Bear fans.
Oh yeah.
Remember the Fit Guy? Yeah, that was pretty fun too. So he was a great one. 70 what, mid 70s,
I don't
late
know,
70s, whatever it was. But him and Cliffy sitting down at the end of the bar, and all, you know, the classic one-liners, whether it was Coach or Woody bartending or Sam. I guess Diane even too.
Have you watched like memes of all this stuff, all these video clips? I mean, hundreds of them.
You can go on and on with them. I mean, to come up with your top Norm intro lines as he walked through Cheers, that was great. He was a beauty. One hell of a beer drinker.
I did some research on that. It wasn't real beer. He said it was actually disgusting.
You know, though, speaking of that show, do you remember the old guy that sat at the end of the bar, like opposite corner of Norm?
Dance mailman.
Yes, that guy. That wasn't Phil. Phil was the other fat guy by Norman Cliff. God, what was his name? Anyway, that was actually, he was just on there once in a while. But that was Rhea Perlman's dad. That was Carla's dad, and he actually drank real beer because he wouldn't say anything other than every once in a while he'd throw in a line like that. But he'd come to visit Carla on set, and that was actually her dad. He was drinking real beer. So
I think you're on record as saying that's your favorite sitcom too, from like a previous episode.
yeah, it's hard to top it. It is.
Do you have a favorite line from Norm?
No, I don't. They're all great, but one of my favorite episodes or situations in an episode was when he and Cliffy got completely hammered up because Carla mixed them some. They weren't just on the beer that day at Cheers. So they were drinking some concoction she made up, and it really got hammered. And the next day they came stumbling in all hungover, and that was when they woke up and realized, well, they went and got tattoos.
Yeah.
And Cliffy had I Love Vera, and Norm had God Bless the U.S. Postal Service tattooed to him, so they even screwed that up. But yeah, that was one of my favorites.
I think I was over at your place and I showed you the one where Lilith and Frasier have the baby in the bar. Lilith is ripping on Frasier about having him here, and he's never going to be able to communicate, and we'll never hear him speak. And Norm walks in and the baby yells, "Norm!"
Yeah.
Is he in the Mount Rushmore of TV characters?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because that show had so many good characters, right? I mean, I guess Sam was the main character. I don't know, but the owner of the bar, Ted Danson, there. But I don't know. It's hard to say because he had a big role in that, but I think other shows might have had a character that was more of a main character to be it. But I don't know. He's right there with any of them for me. That was great.
If you saw Ted Danson, would you go, "Hey, it's Sam Malone," or "Hey, that's Ted Danson"? Whereas if you saw Norm, you're like, "Hey, Norm!"
True.
Instead of George Wendt. But
True.
Anyway, passing him an icon, and the videos that are out on social media just bring back a lot of memories and are hilarious. All right, should we get into something less fun?
Sure.
I see the college football world is taking our suggestion.
Took them a while.
It did.
I'm glad we're starting to make a difference there too.
They're gonna, as expected, they're gonna seed that whole thing 1 through 12 now, top 4 teams, which I think everybody in their right mind thinks that's the way to go. I'm sure there's some people that are arguing about money and this and that, but seed the top 4, give those guys buys because I loved the playoff last year, but it just didn't have the best possible games with that automatic bid or buy for the conference champion. So
yeah, we went through that. I mean, there was a couple of those early games where the first round of the playoffs, Penn State, and I don't even remember who they played and all that's the thing. You know, those games were over before halftime.
Yeah.
So something's got to be done there. Not that that's going to correct all of it. There's still going to be some, and you know the goal is to get into that tournament, I guess. But it had to change because that was unwatchable. Some of it last year.
In the one lightning rod there is Notre Dame. So now they would have the ability to get a bye, which I know irritates a lot of people. Not for anything other than they just hate Notre Dame, but so I'm glad to see it. I still think they should play they maybe add 4 teams and play the first 2 rounds on college campuses because that creates a great environment.
Yeah, no doubt.
Want to talk a little NBA, MLB? Anything? I see you rocking the Brewers hat today after they scored 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, we can safely say that my Milwaukee Brewers are hot. I got the hat out, pulled a couple T-shirts out yesterday that I put away a while back because I was pissed at them, but starting pitching starting to come back and get healthier now. Quintana's pitching today. Brandon Woodruff, I think, is going to make 1 more rehab start, so getting some of these guys back. Aaron Savali pitched, I think he's made 1 start now back in the majors. So you get these starters back, you got great depth there, but the big thing is they're hitting the ball right now, and it's taken a while. Yelich is on fire.
So he's over 200?
Wow, yeah. Well, for him to get to 235 or 240, where the hell he's at, you know he's on fire because last time we were on here, I think
he was 197.
There you go.
Last time I looked.
And he's got 12 or 13 bombs now. He had the walk-off grand slam the other night. Churio had 4 hits yesterday. He's on fire. Sal Frelick's rolling. Their catcher, Contreras, is rolling. So everything's clicking right now for him. Now they'll get shut out today, I suppose, after putting up 17 yesterday against the Phillies, who are the best. I think they had the best record in the National League before this series. So they've taken the first 2 from Philly. They've won 6 in a row. And yeah, it's good. I hope they keep this offense rolling a little bit because it's been fun. I listened yesterday. We took just a little cruise around. Went past your place, actually. Went out to Gay. And went out to the Sands. Is that what you call it? You know that road you turn when you come into Gay, you take that right?
Gay Sands?
Yeah.
I think they used to call them Gay Ponds.
That is crazy out there. When's the last time you were down that road?
The last time I was down that road would have been 92 or 93.
Come on.
Well, it used to be a big party spot.
Like, it still could be.
I
There's
think-
like 5 or 6 little turn-ins that you could, and then have,
Yeah.
I mean, that is just, I don't know how to describe this to people who have no idea what we're talking about, but it's where they put thousands upon thousands of loads of crushed mine rock at some point, correct? And you can't, the lake is 300 yards out there in some of these spots, and all you can see, we're not talking beautiful beach sand.
No, it's crushed mine rock.
Crushed mine rock, little areas where the waves have come in and created smaller little ponds. As far as you can see, it's really an odd looking deal, and I hadn't been there in many years, but we took the ride at the end of that. That was my whole
you're
point.
gonna be glad you did that.
Because they're taking that on.
They are actually the guy who's in charge of the project is a good friend of mine. I happened to be out putzing in the yard today, and he was.
How the hell are they going to get that out of there?
They are literally trucking that out of there. They're working on a site over by Cold Dock Road, and they're literally going to haul all that out there.
Boy, oh boy.
And that's what I said. We were talking to brother, like, how about give it to the road commission for the road?
So that's what you were talking about,
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah, and that's part of that whole Buffalo Reef out by Travers and the boat launch out there.
Because you can't, in that road, it's not like a really beautiful beachfront land out there.
No.
It's kind of swampy and it's
Yeah.
thick.
They call it. They used to be called Gay Ponds when we used to have gatherings out there.
I mean, it's a 2-rut road getting out there. It's not a bad drive. You're not bouncing around.
So how did you end up there?
Well, we just
said,
take a ride down this, and I remember doing it way back, but I must not have paid much attention then. I don't know. But we went to the end of it, turned around, came back, and that's how this all started. Was the Brewers were up 11-0 in the 4th during that little trip. So, anyway, it's an odd deal out there.
Tigers are playing well. Tough one yesterday, 1-0.
Scooble.
Yeah, and we'll get to him later in the questions, but man, he is worth the price of admission.
How about his outing prior to that?
Complete game, no walks. And that's
In the teen strikeout, and
oh, he had 13 strikeouts that day.
my dad has been mentioning this to anybody that's near him over the last week and a half, that the final pitch he threw, I don't remember what his total was that game, but
It was like 90.
the final pitch he threw in that game was clocked out 103 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So good to see a complete game. That's kind of
Yeah.
noted later too here. So yeah, the Tigers, they're going to lose. They've got the best record in the American League. Dodgers Yankees got a series going on right
Did
now.
you see that game yesterday?
Well, I quit watching at 7-0 early.
Yeah, it was like the Brewer game yesterday.
They got.
I don't remember what the final
Plus, that was a nationally televised game
Oh,
too,
yeah.
so those poor bastards had to sit and talk through all that
Yeah.
because it was over early. But how about the season Judge is having? You see his stats?
Yeah.
He's hitting just below 400 right now.
And every other swing is a home run?
Whew, man, is he putting it together? Yeah, that's he's off to one hell of a start. I mean, we're getting it's still early, but it's starting to get later early.
Yeah.
So other than that, then NBA, we got.
I gotta be honest, I've actually been watching these games because there's nothing else on. And do you want to go off on him or shall I?
On Halliburton?
Yeah. Did you watch? He played a better second half last night in that game, but whatever game they played Thursday night, maybe. He had
Okay.
0 points at halftime or something.
Well, did you see his game before that?
Yeah. So he had 0 points at halftime, so he averaged 15 that day?
Well, he had, yeah, so the game 4 that put them up 3-1,
Yep.
that was at Indianapolis, and he had like, I don't know.
He had a triple-double by halftime.
The perfect game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 30 plus points, and he had in the teens in both rebounds and assists,
Yeah.
but the other stat there, you know what it was?
0 turnovers.
0 turnovers. So that was impressive as hell. He can be a pain to watch. He drives me nuts, but somehow I find myself pulling for Indiana right now.
I think I am too. I'm still not on the Brunson wagon.
No, well, we can say bye bye to him. They got rolled yesterday,
Yeah.
and I had to thank you. I had made that bet, thankfully. So Indiana was a -4.5, but the Knicks controlled that whole game 5 in New York when they had to have it, and pressure was on Indy yesterday because the last thing they wanted to do was go back to the Knicks for New York for Game 7.
Well, especially with the first half that Halliburton had last night.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he had 0 points or 2 points at halftime again.
yeah, and
Something
then,
ridiculous.
and then he just gets it wrong. But he does find guys in that offense. I mean, they play so fast.
Well, they try to play fast. That's why they got their butts whooped the other night. Is
Yeah.
New York slowed him down and he
Right,
didn't
right.
do a good job.
I think, I mean, those other two guys too, that Neesmith and Nemhard, those two they just got a nice mix of guys that are solid players, you know. And
Yeah.
he's supposedly their so-called star, but, you know, Pascal Siakam, he had 30 plus in one of the games.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I am looking forward to this NBA final, and for 2 reasons. Number one, because it's pissed all the networks off and everybody else that the Knicks aren't in this. Oklahoma City, small market team, and to prove how small market, Jen asked last night, she said, well, what round is this? Or, you know, where the Pacers were in the Knicks series, and I just said, well, this is Eastern Conference Finals. I said, so Indiana's going to the NBA Finals now. She asked who they played, and I said, Oklahoma City. And she looked at me like I was crazy. I've never heard of them. I said, Oklahoma City Thunder. Never heard of them. So she has no clue that this team even existed. Now, she's a, I don't know, half-ass Bucks fan who watch the games if they're on.
She's
So it's an NBA fan is probably an exaggeration if I said that. But it's no clue that Oklahoma City even had a franchise. So you've got a small market team there against the Pacers. You know, it's not what the NBA wanted, the networks and all that. But I think it's a great matchup. Oklahoma City, they play great defense.
Yeah.
They really get after it. They're young. That Dart or whatever the heck his name is really plays hard defensively. And the guy they picked up from the Bulls, I can't think of his name.
Is that the Williams? There's a
He had a headband. He's a bald guy with a headband.
Yeah.
God dang it! I think he went to Arkansas. Can't think of it. Gets a lot of steals. But they play defense. And the Pacers are young and deep, and they're going to run up and down the court. So I think it's going to be a fun series.
Oklahoma City, were they from Seattle? Did they get moved from Seattle?
I think you might be right.
So just tell Bujak they're the Seattle
Supersonics.
and
Yeah. Oh, that'll help.
Tom Chambers and Detlef Schrempf are starting for him.
Mm-hmm.
Should we get on the local scene a little bit, Oj? Best day in the UP sports yesterday.
Yeah. We also need to talk a little baseball. I see that came up twice in listener questions. I don't know how much you can, didn't it?
Didn't we just talk baseball?
Local high school baseball.
Yeah, well, I got that on there. Well, we'll get to softball and the baseball
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't have much to add there, but anyway, yeah, UP finals yesterday at Kingsford. Must have been a decent day for it. I looked at the results team-wise a little bit this morning. I didn't get in any individual stuff. I see Emily Jokloff and Lake Linden had a heck of a day again.
Yeah, both Lake Linden boys and girls finished runner-up, which is great. People say, "Oh, the girls didn't win," because they've won 3 in a row. How many times? And,
Right.
like, people gotta understand how hard it is to win the UPs. Like, it's, you know, I guess we get spoiled because our teams have been so successful. You know, Coach Gus won 3 in a row and would have got 4 in a row if it wasn't for COVID. And then when he got back into coaching, they won 3 in a row again. But just congratulations to Coach Gus and Coach Jarvis. I mean, people don't realize how difficult it is to win the UPs. You know, especially with a small school, and we don't literally have hardly any distance running.
Yeah, right.
But it was a good performance. I did not go. Like I said, we were kind of home here. Did watch it on TV. They do a nice job with that to watch it on there. A lot of positive comments about David W. Holmes and the operation that Kingsford puts on down there and how well. I had heard that they were at one point over an hour ahead of schedule.
Really?
Yeah,
Good crowd?
I think so. It was a good day, good weather-wise.
Did Jokla, what was her fourth event?
So she took 3 first. She took second in the 100.
Oh, that's what it was. She
Yeah.
got beaten 100.
There was a couple races where she was actually second or third as far as time goes, and Newberry won both the boys and girls, and they're just loaded with athletes, and some other good performances. Some other girls got some like 3rd places, 4th places. I think their mile relay team took 1st. On the boys' side, what a gutty performance there too. Some kids had their best days in field events and stuff. But so congrats to all those guys. Especially, you know, very proud of Lake Linden guys for what they accomplished there. Mark Leaf, tip of the hat to Kingsford for putting that event on like they always do. And you know, bulldozers are hitting tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they had everything set up, and they'll be bulldozing everything there on Monday. So,
Oh, boy.
softball update. Also, I'm sure you did not go, but Friday night I went and watched the softball game. Lakes defeated Hancock to win their first district.
Okay.
Good win for them
I saw the Cal girls got beat in the district finals yesterday.
by Nagani. I
By
believe
Nagani. Yeah, I think Cal jumped them early. That's like 4-0 lead early on, and then it was 6-5 middle, and then it looked like it fell apart. Nagani won that. What about Holton? Where were they with this?
I think they got knocked out early as well. Baseball scene. I think Jeffers is left.
Jeffers Norway tomorrow or today? Do they play on Sundays?
No, they don't play. It'll be this coming week, but
They don't play on Sundays?
No.
Did they play yesterday?
I think they did play yesterday, either Friday or you know,
It's Jeffers Norway, I know,
in the regional.
Okay.
Yeah, and remember Norway was in the state finals last year, and they're returning a pretty good nucleus there, so they're going to be a tough out. But Jeffers is also very talented.
that Turner kid's a good player.
Yeah, they got a lot of those kids that play, and then they turn around and play in the Twilight League all summer. So they do, you know, play a lot of baseball. So good luck to them as well. Kind of wrapping up sports season here now. I guess we'll see what happens with the Lake softball team and Jeffers baseball team, and wish them well.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask you too. I don't know, I had something else in my mind regarding that baseball. Maybe it'll come up when we get to these listener questions. But anyway,
Then we got some random things that were part of.
well, yeah, there's a couple things that just popped into my mind last night when I was thinking about the pod, and well, I thought about the pod after thinking about these things. But do you? When's the last time you ate a Tombstone pizza?
I'm not a big fan of Tombstone pizza. I gotta be honest. The frozen pizza world is a very sore subject in my house, because
Well, let's get into it right now. Then.
okay, because I gotta be honest. I grew up on Jack's pizzas.
Okay.
And right now, that is the only thing anybody in our house will eat. So anytime there's a pizza in our house, it's Jack's. I hate Jack's pizzas.
Just because you.
Yeah, why can't we try something else?
When you
Tombstones?
get the one thing about Jack's, that thin crust. I mean, I can wipe out a full Jack's pizza. No
Yeah,
problem.
you take it, fold it into 2 pieces, and it's gone in 2 bites.
That's probably my favorite frozen pizza. But one of the things I don't do is I don't try a lot of other things. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
They get kind of locked in on
Yeah.
one thing, and that's it. So I used to, Tombstone was pretty much what I used to have. We get a lot of those when I was a kid.
That's what we ate too. I remember my dad liked Tombstone pizzas.
And I bought one yesterday, and I didn't cook it. There's a story with that too, but it didn't. I needed to have it in the damn oven a little longer. But Tombstone was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. It's been a while since I had one of those. And I was thinking too. Remember the big kick? Everybody thought these lots of matzahs were the greatest pizza. Those suck. That cheese on there. There's too much of that on there.
I actually like the lots of matzahs. I'm not going to eat those all the time, but I don't eat a lot of frozen pizzas. But there's a good little variety. You buy some of those other ones that have just. I'm willing to the Dina Maria's ones that are square.
Dina Mia.
Dina Mia.
Those are the UP pizzas.
Yes.
That's Iron River,
Yeah.
I think.
What about? Did you ever have a Red Baron pizza?
Those are bad.
And what is the worst thing about the Red Baron pizzas?
No sauce.
And what happens to the pepperoni?
Oh, it curls up. The little ding, you're right. It curls up in the little. I
Yeah.
don't even know what it is on that. That is not a meat product. Whatever's on that thing. Red Baron. But there's like the South Branch used to have great frozen pizzas, but maybe it was because we were always hungry when we were in there.
No, they probably cooked it in a pizza oven or something too.
That's true. Maybe that's a little better, which I should have had last night because I almost blew up with that Tombstone. I think they had Peps, but I don't never see that in a store. Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking that frozen pizzas. Do people still get those?
Well, I'm sure there's 4 Jack's pizzas in our freezer that I won't eat.
They get the meat lovers or just pepperoni.
Oh, it's just pepperoni.
Just plain old pepperoni Jacks.
It's a sore subject because everybody in my house, hey, what do you want? Pepperoni. Can we get something else? I don't like that. I don't like this. I'm like, we got to try something.
Well, the other thing I was thinking about when I was listening to the lyrics a little bit was the fact that I was thinking about some of these rock bands from our era that the 80s into the 90s, and which ones were legit successful bands that I don't have a clue about and just ignored because I was locked into my own weird world. And one of them was Pearl Jam. So I gave it a little shot last night. I said, and I recognized Pearl Jam when they come on, but I'd never listened to the lyrics or paid much attention. So we started playing a little bit of Pearl Jam last night, and Yellow Ledbetter came on, which apparently is one of their favorite songs or their top songs, and I can't deal with them. I could not understand a word he was saying in that song. I mean, the lyrics, I needed to have them right there with me reading as I went along because it was tough. Tried another song, same deal. I mean, they are really hard to figure out talking wise, singing wise on there. It's brutal.
I never got into that genre of music. I've never cared for it. There's a couple Pearl Jam songs I like. As a matter of fact, the graduation this year at Lake Linden, I noticed because my classroom's right next to the auditorium, they're doing the rehearsal. I think they had a Pearl Jam song as their exit song. That was like their class song, like Time of Your Life, which wasn't bad, but it wasn't the stick the microphone in your mouth and go.
Yeah, that's.
But not a Pearl Jam fan. Never liked Nirvana.
Yeah, but then that's not.
Isn't that?
That's a little different. That's that grungy. I never did either, but they didn't have much of a lifespan there. I mean,
no pun intended.
Yeah, but so I went to my my expert when it comes to classic rock music, and one of the other guys that would consider himself an expert is Jess. But I thought of Luke right away with this. And Jesse's a little more. He got more stuff he listens to. He's all over the map from, anywhere. Right? He listens to a lot of stuff.
Is he a troubadour?
But we started talking about that, and I figured I'm gonna see what Luke's thoughts are on this. So I sent him a text, and I said Pearl Jam or GNR, and his response is great question. It was GNR debut album, Pearl Jam overall.
Really?
Yeah. So then I went. So you are saying that Appetite for Destruction is better than the 10 album? I know what this came from Jesse. Luke's better than the 10 album, but Pearl Jam overall. His line is, "Who the hell stole your phone?" But it's very close. But that's the way I'd go on debut albums. After that, GNR can't compare for longevity. So that was a interesting take on that.
I'm not saying I dislike Pearl Jam, but I just like not gonna go out of my way to listen to them.
Yeah, well, they will not listen to the lyrics.
I,
So that was finalized last night.
okay. Anything else grinding your craw?
Not at the moment, but I can
Days
I
young.
can certainly find something.
We never did get in, put that segment in the show. What pisses Oj off, hey?
Yeah, I know. I was going to replace the wager talk.
We kind of just inserted that in here anyway. Since we last podcasted, had a big retirement party at your house.
Yep.
Number of grad parties and stuff like that. So grad party at your house was fantastic. I thought it was great. Weather was.
Retirement party.
What did I say?
Grad.
Yeah, well, maybe Stebbs is graduating onto another
Yeah,
job.
it was the part of the Mike Stieber retirement tour.
Yep.
That was phase 3 of that, I believe. So that was fun, and Tav. Yeah, that was good time. Chumley,
Chumley too as well.
a good showing by a number of people there.
Well, yeah, we did had a good showing, but how do you feel about Dollar Dave just quitting? I mean, is he allowed back?
That's under very mysterious circumstances,
Yeah.
I would say too. So, but the investigation continues on that one. Got through that whole keg of Pickaxe Blonde.
And here comes the judge, not allowed to tap the keg ever again.
Yeah, and then he was taking some heat from other people because they said they fixed it and it got no better.
Yeah.
So hard to complain. Harders gave me a nice deal on that, but that tapper was garbage. Guess how many glasses of that I had?
1.
Zero. Never tasted it.
Oh, thanks for buying it. Appreciate it. I only think I had 1. I think I had 1 or 2. But anyway, grad party. Did you make it to any grad parties?
We went in the lake too at the sauna.
I saw that.
Sauna
I did
talk.
see that. I saw a picture of the silver fox.
The best part about that was, little did the Silver Fox know that Hookham and Paul from Boise were standing on top of the bank, analyzed our entrance into the lake. Once we got out, they claimed that you could see a little bit of the top of the Silver Fox's shoulders and a little bit of the Silver Fox's head sticking out of the water. They did not count it as a full swim.
Oh!
So,
Hey, rules are rules.
yeah, he was not given credit. I was. So I have officially gone in Lake Superior on the sauna. Silver Fox, though,
No, not
things
that.
have changed since that day, but he certainly did not get credit for it that day.
Did you make it to any grad parties this year?
No. I didn't get a whole lot of in. That's a whole different deal, too. Once I've gotten out of coaching and away from the whole world where my office is,
Do you even know how to get into the high school at this
Yeah,
point?
it's a little bit of a walk for me, but yeah, those are down a little bit. But I got there's a few. I went to one grad party yesterday that isn't till next weekend.
Nice.
Thank God that that I was, one of the guys that is related to this person that is graduating was pulling out and I said, hey, Seth, what's up here? I said, no, what time is the party? 1? He's like, yeah, 1 o'clock next Saturday, Oj. So
Locked in. Just locked in.
yeah,
What's your favorite grad party food? This has been I've had some discussion with this with people. Because first of all, you don't eat anyway.
yeah, I do.
But grad party, what's on your plate?
I don't know. Probably cheesy potatoes. I'm a fan of those, so I'll splurge a little bit with that. Then you're always going to get the pulled pork type stuff. Jesse made a hell of a pulled pork too last week, by the way. My recipe. I don't know. It's all good. I'll just eat whatever. It's the same stuff. You're going to have little ham with toothpicks in it and some buns.
Don't you?
Then you move along, go to the relish tray and you get your pickles. Then you get your cheese potatoes. What the hell kind of... What do you have?
You don't go to ones that have like themes and stuff? Like
Themes.
how about the taco bar? Ones that have the taco bar.
I don't
You ever go to any that have breakfast?
No. Boy, I gotta get invited to some of these Lake Linden parties.
I guess so. Because this actually was a discussion topic. Best grad party foods. Your standbys, your cheesy potatoes, taco salads. We've had the burger bars. Somebody had a lemonade bar too. That was pretty good. One time there was an ice cream bar.
Yeah, you got me on that one.
Oh, I don't even think I know you anymore.
Copper Country Sauna is the premier sauna builder in the Keweenaw, led by two brothers-in-law that share a passion for saunas and want to provide custom saunas to the Copper Country residents. When you are ready to throw some water on the rocks, visit our website at coppercountrysauna.com or give us a call at 906-281-9427.
Well, we're going to go to Crouchy's Corner. We got another interview this week. Good one. That was a lot of fun talking with this fine young man that we've known for a while. And I think everybody in our listener line is going to know who this young man is.
Yeah, pretty good little story. He was able to give us some insight like no one else could on the transfer portal, the ins and outs of that. And yeah, I haven't been able to talk to him since battling against him a little bit in high school when I coached, and certainly good to hear from Foster Wonders.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy this one, and sit back and as we continue to follow his career. All right, thanks for joining us tonight, Foster. Always good to talk with you. And we got to ask you what we ask all of our interviewees. Have you actually listened to this podcast before?
Yeah, for sure. Listened to quite a few episodes, so I definitely enjoyed it every time.
Oh,
That's beautiful, isn't it?
it is. And Oj thought you didn't, but I had confidence in you.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's kind of get into this, Foster. You got a very storied family, and you come from a basketball family. Your brother was a very talented athlete as well, but you come from your mom and dad were both phenomenal basketball players. Couple years older than Oj and myself, but I can remember being in college and watching your mom and dad play. I've watched your brother play, and I've watched you play a number of times. And let's just be, and you can tell your dad I said this, but thank God your mom was a good hooper. You and your brother got some good skills from her, but talk a little bit about like growing up with that, because I'm sure your parents were not shy to share their legacies with you and your brother, but talk a little bit about the early days growing up in that type of family.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun growing up all the time. Just having my dad, especially being a gym teacher too, and always having access to the gym. But I mean, just growing up, having my brother be older than me, but not so much older where I couldn't really compete with him growing up. But he'd always beat on me when I was young. But it was at first it was kind of hard to get a feel for really what my parents did. And then as I kind of grew older and started really falling in love with the game, I think I did kind of my little research and all that and like doing the comparisons. And it was so cool to kind of see what they did and kind of where they started at too. Kind of they had really different journeys, both my parents, my mom and my dad. And my mom playing JUCO and being from a tiny school downstate and finding her way up to Northern Michigan, and then with my dad being a walk on and then starting all 4 years, it's pretty cool to kind of look back on that. But everything was kind of centered around basketball. So I mean, it was just always part of my life and just kind of an outlet for me too. Just anytime I really needed to clear my mind or do anything, I just went to the gym with my dad and got shots up. So that's kind of how it's always been.
Well, I think one of the things well, I'm sure you don't know, but one of the things that probably propelled your dad's career was the fact that he pulled off one of the great Elks hoop shoot upsets ever when he beat me as a 13-year-old. I was a 12-year-old. Uh, he beat me. I think it was in Iron Mountain, maybe Escanaba, not sure, but I'm sure he'll remember that as one of his great moments ever in his basketball career too.
He probably has
Oh,
trophies probably still on display somewhere.
Yeah, well, it should
oh,
be.
for sure. For sure. We got a big old storage room in our basement. I'm sure it's buried somewhere in there, but yeah. Wow,
So
that's kind of wild.
yeah, yeah. So we'll get into your high school career a little bit, and I think we just, we can talk about the successes that you had in your 4 years at Iron Mountain, but really, your sophomore season, the team you had there, and we can't we can't not talk about the state final game. Your junior year, then of course that's the COVID year where things get wiped out. You're one of the guys that you just didn't you missed out, and that was terrible for a lot of people, a lot of kids. And then maybe a little bit on your senior year, but let's start with your sophomore season, the team that you had, and build a little bit up to what happened in that state championship game.
Yeah, that was a special season for sure because going into that state championship game, we were undefeated, and I mean, it was one of those things where the stars kind of aligned, um, having kind of grown up with that group of guys, Marcus and Charlie and Jaden and Tony Farah. They were all upperclassmen by then, so everything was kind of it came together. That being the big year for us that we wanted to do something, and I mean it was so cool playing in the state championship game. And I mean, obviously, we thought we had it won, and just the feeling that it's hard to describe still to this day. I watching even this year, I watched Kingsford play in the state semifinals, and just seeing the high school games on the Breslin court, it kind of gives me some PTSD and some flashbacks to some bad memories, but also some good ones. But yeah, it still hurts to this day because I mean it's something we always dreamed of, and kind of have it ripped away from you like that. It's still hard to believe it, but I mean, uh, you just have to move on, and I mean, try to stay positive about that stuff. So
Yeah,
You do. We don't. It's the worst call in high school basketball, according to SS3TP. But I digress.
and we there's a lot of the listeners that obviously didn't watch that game, but maybe knew about it. But I mean, you can't make up the domino effect of craziness that happened in the last few minutes of that game. It's still, to me, watching it is one of the craziest endings ever. And obviously, there's a lot of little things that happen in the final minutes, seconds of a game to cause something like that to happen. So yeah, it's got to be painful for you, but uh, still, it was one heck of a team, one heck of a season. But I'll jump in real quick here, Coach. You mentioned how you were undefeated that year. You were extremely lucky to be undefeated.
So I haven't been to a
for
lot of
sure,
I haven't been to a lot of Oja's
for
games
sure.
over the years because frankly I don't want to watch him in that vein on his side of his head pop out. But one of the games I was at was it was a pretty crazy game. It was when you guys played up in Calumet. Oja's boys are playing, and you guys were phenomenal that year. That was a crazy game from a fan standpoint. What do you remember from that trip to Cal City that year?
I just remember that being one of the like most competitive, most fun games I've played in. I mean, just I always loved competing against Calumet because you knew you were gonna get their best shot. They weren't just gonna back down or stop playing, or I mean, they were just coming at us the whole time. And I mean, Matt and Trav, they never. I mean, they wanted to beat us, and I mean, we caught some breaks in that game for sure. But that was a really fun game to play in, and yeah, it was a lot of good players going at it. So yeah, I definitely remember that one a lot.
Yeah, we had the miss free throw that we got the offensive board, traveling call with 5 seconds left. You stumbled, Trevor Torla stumbled a little bit, and then you drilled a shot on the elbow on the left side to send it to overtime, and we were cooked there at that point. We had, I think, three starters out, but that was one of the best basketball atmospheres in a hockey town, really, that we've ever had. It was a lot of memories for that, and man, I wish we could have pulled it off, but. So you have the state championship game that was we just mentioned it. It was a brutal ending. Your senior year, you get back there, with now it's your classmates, and in that game, to be honest, you guys were a little bit outmanned. It was one hell of a team you played against, but you're back in the state finals again, making your second trip. So talk about that game a little bit.
Yeah, I think the feel was completely different. Obviously, having COVID affect that entire season too, starting late and not even knowing if we were going to play. But I think getting there that year was a little bit more. surprising to a lot of people. And because, I mean, we had 7 guys on our team, and it was me and a bunch of guys who were frankly football players. They didn't love basketball, so it was just different. And none of those guys had really had any kind of role on the team previously. So it was kind of just the group that I had grown up with. It was all seniors on the team and then one sophomore. And we just kept rolling through the playoffs and kind of upsetting teams that were maybe ranked ahead of us in rankings. And but yeah, that state championship game, that was definitely rough. I can still remember going up in the Breslin practice gyms, and they had it split up because there's 2 sides with the women's and the men's. And I still remember seeing, just peering over to Flint Beecher's side, and they were doing defensive slide drills before the game. And I was thinking to myself, "Oh man, this might be a long game."
Might be a
So
little
yeah,
tough getting around those guys, eh?
oof, yeah, 2 or 3 of them too. When they're picking you up full court, it's a little different. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that was, I mean, it was awesome to make it there for sure.
Well, you go back and said obviously OJ and I are trying to highlight the great things in the UP, and your high school career is second to none. If we're doing Mount Rushmore's, probably you're probably up there right behind your father. But but just give tell our tens of fans, like, what are a couple memories you take away from your days with Iron Mountain? We've kind of brought up a bad moment, but what are some of the best moments, maybe best games that you take away from for playing for Iron Mountain?
I think probably the most special thing was just having that connection with everybody that showed up to the games, all the fans and everything. That, I mean, in you guys know, being a part of the UP, like when you're representing your town like that, it's everyone's becomes like a family. And then it was really cool too, having the trips downstate to play and advancing the tournament. The whole UP kind of rallies around you too. So that was just always super special. And then some of the games that I really enjoyed were probably, um, I'd say a big one was Escanaba my senior year, because they kind of upped the capacity for fans. We finally had a big crowd, and they were ranked ahead of us and really good. And I don't think anybody really expected us to win, and winning that one was pretty cool. And yeah, I'd say just how tight knit everyone was. Like you wanted to play for the fans and keep advancing for them, and also for your teammates, because you grow up with each other your whole life.
Yeah, very, very well said. So as you transition to the next stage and you're going to make decisions to play at the college level, I'm sure mom and dad were lobbying hard to send you to Northern, but what went into your decision to decide on a college coming out of high school?
I think the biggest thing for me was the interest that the school showed, and kind of um, a big thing for me was my relationship with the head coach, because obviously at that level they're making the decisions. Assistants can tell you a lot, but I mean, at the end of the day, the call is going to the head coach and what they're saying. And for me, that was the biggest thing. Was Southern Illinois showed me a lot of interest, and that was kind of where my decision went. And I think looking back, maybe I should have looked more into just how I fit in with the personnel and everything like that, especially with guys getting COVID years. And they had a lot of upperclassmen when I first came in there. And I think, I think as I went through the process now, I mean, I've been in the transfer portal twice, just so I know exactly what I was like looking for, especially this time. And yeah, you can't really put a price on your role and how they view you. So I think everything from my outlook kind of changed.
So, after the Southern Illinois year, you end up, well, your coach left also, correct?
Um, he actually got let go the year after I left.
Okay,
So
that's what it was. All right.
yeah,
And
yep.
then you end up at UWGB, which, I mean, now you're right in your backyard basically as far as D1 basketball goes. Uh, Opportunity there for you. And talk about that a little bit. I mean, we were all fired up to see you at UWGB, and you know, that's part of your steps along the way. So talk about that.
Yeah, it was one of those things where you just never know what's going to happen throughout. I mean, as time goes on, and the assistant that recruited me really hard down to Southern Illinois, he recruited me before that too at UW Milwaukee. Pat Monahan, he took the job at Green Bay, and he told me he was going there, and if I wanted to come up there with him and kind of come home in a way, that he really wanted me to go there, and that's kind of what got the ball rolling with everything. And I think I was a little bit homesick too, just never. I mean, just being super far away from the UP, but yeah, kind of having that opportunity and just the way that first year at Green Bay kind of played out, it was special because nobody expected anything from us, and Coach Sonny was definitely awesome to play for too. Just he just brought the best out of everyone, and it was the most fun year I've probably had playing basketball outside of high school for sure. And I mean, obviously last year was really tough and tough for me especially, but I think I'm just grateful that I have another year to make things right and kind of go out on a high note and not have a bad taste in my mouth about um, how that last year went for me, especially.
Yeah, well, who knows? I mean, what happened last year and what you went through. I mean, I think Jim Harbaugh mentions how kids get tougher and they grow calluses through some negativity like that. And you know, hopefully the Doug Gottlieb experience and what went on last year, hopefully there's a positive with that, and that you grow some calluses leading you into to your next step here at Cleveland State.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I appreciate everything that those guys did for me, that staff too, and I think it was just best for me to try to find a new spot and um, definitely have some calluses from last year. And I mean, it's one of those things where not everything is going to go the way you plan it. I mean, I didn't go into college thinking I was going to redshirt and have to go through a year like that and not play, and then not playing as much as I wanted to my first year, being able to play at SIU. And I mean, you just have to keep responding and keep working. I think it's just added to motivation for me to want to go out the right way. And I think I have a good chance to at Cleveland State, and I kind of had a connection to the new coach there, Coach Summers. He was with the staff 2 staffs ago with Dennis Gates, who he was just the assistant coach for at University of Missouri. So he's kind of always been a part of winning, and he played for John Beeline at West Virginia, and he was on those teams with Joe Mazzulla and guys like that. So I mean, I'm excited to get down there and get started.
Well, obviously, I believe you know everybody in our listening land and the UP is wants to see you have a great year and really happy that you're continuing to play. And let's shift gears away from this a little bit because Oj and I we've talked a lot about transfer portal, NIL and stuff, and we've had coaches on here. But how about from like your perspective? What do you take away from the transfer portal, NIL stuff from a player's side of it? You know, what are you seeing out there, and what are the pros and cons maybe that you've dealt with?
I think just from my experience, I've kind of seen both ends of it in a way, because when I first came in, it wasn't really a big thing at all. Nobody really had anything going on, and some of my teammates from SIU ended up getting huge paydays, like Lance Jones at Purdue and Marcus Damask at Illinois. And I've had quite a few of my former teammates go on and make huge paychecks. And I mean, obviously at the mid-major level, it's not even close to anything that they're getting at the high major levels, like a Michigan or Michigan State. But I think a big thing for sure is the best teams that I've played against and the teams that win, they they don't lose those values that they have, and their guys aren't super worried about the money. And that's usually that was the Oakland team that we played against a couple years ago, and it was Robert Morris last year. It was guys who weren't super worried about that or where they were going to go next with the portal. It was guys who just wanted to win and didn't really care about anything besides that. So I think it's kind of separated a lot of teams, and it plays a bigger role than anything really has before. Like, if it can destroy a culture for sure. I mean, guys are talking about, oh, I'm going to transfer and things like that. It's definitely different than when I first came in.
Yeah, when guys are talking about that kind of stuff mid-season, I mean, how does that keep a team together? You know, that's got to be tough, and I'm sure that happens all over the place, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, a lot of those guys, they have people, whether it's former AAU coaches or high school coaches, they're already talking to other college coaches. So, I mean, you see it all the time. Guys will go in the portal and then 2 days later they're signed with someone else. They already had that predetermined. So it's just crazy right now. And I think by the time next year's done, I'll be ready to kind of be away from just everything, the craziness of all of it now. So
What
yeah.
as far as Cleveland State's roster, how they're building it right now, what do you know about that? What do you know, what's your take on the players that are bringing in and the crew that you're going to be playing with next year? Because you're in the same conference that you just left, you know, so not just left, you're in the same conference as you were, and that's got to be a little interesting too. So what do you know about the crew that Cleveland State is building there, and what type of ball club you might have next year?
I think we'll definitely have a skilled group. We have quite a few guards that are really they're kind of jitterbugs in a way. They're super quick and can get in the paint, and that definitely helps guys like me. But I think we have a good blend of guys who can really shoot it, and kind of putting those guys around super quick guards, and then some solid bigs too that are pretty mobile. And I mean, I think it's going to be super exciting, kind of see how it all comes together. And the coaching staff is really good too. So I mean, those guys have always been a part of winning programs, and Cleveland State's kind of the last two or three staffs have kind of just continued that culture and winning and having success in the horizon. So I think it'll be exciting to kind of see how it all comes together.
Well, I love the fact that you keep bringing up the word culture because that's to me is one of the biggest factors in success in anything you're doing. But um, you know, you're not the young kid anymore. Now you're a veteran. What was the biggest adjustment for you playing going from Iron Mountain High School to playing at the Division 1 level? You know, I mean, we watch a lot of Division 2 games through Tech Northern. You know, we do catch some of your games at GB on TV and stuff. But what was the biggest adjustment that you think you had to make to get to that Division 1 level?
I think the biggest thing for me was obviously everything is just quicker, faster, stronger. You can say that as much as you want, but once you get out there, you think you're ready, and then someone puts a shoulder into you, or I mean, they just rip past you and go in and dunk it. I mean, it was kind of a shock to me at first, especially at Southern Illinois. We had a lot of talent down there, and um, I think that was the biggest thing. And then I think another big thing was I went in there thinking I worked hard and I pushed myself, and it was no comparison. You just go there and you're like, wow, like they do this every day. I think the first couple of days I went back to my dorm and I was like, geez, this is gonna be a long summer, a long fall before the season, but you get used to it. And I mean, uh, especially my first year at Southern, the culture, like I keep saying, it was just great. Like all the older guys they're getting extra shots up in the gym, asking the younger guys to get in with them, and that just builds that connection. And I hope I can be one of those guys at Cleveland State, especially with the new staff and all that, to kind of bring everybody along, and especially the younger guys too, and kind of make them feel more welcomed with everything and help them adjust to everything. So I think that was probably the biggest thing, was just seeing how different the time is that you invest and how much you really have to push yourself.
Well, hopefully we mentioned the calluses again. We talked about that, but hopefully, um, goal wise and looking into the season, that down the road when you start getting into March next year, that this team is in a position to compete to win that Horizon League tournament. And I mean, that would be just great for you and for everybody to, to be able to see your team and yourself play in the tournament. And that's there for you, and hopefully that works out. We really pulling for you, Foster.
Yeah, and
I
anybody
appreciate it.
and anybody that wants to, you get a subscription to ESPN Plus, and you can watch all these games. I find myself watching. We watch a lot of the NAU games with Coach Burkhardt, but a lot of times we'll flip
Yeah.
on the Green Bay game to watch you play, and and obviously we'll do the same with Cleveland State. But yeah, we wish you nothing but the best. It's been a pleasure watching you grow up. I remember I'm not going to say when you were little because you've always been big, but when you were younger and growing, and I always appreciate the way you conduct yourself and carry yourself and in a professional manner. And I think I speak for all of our tens of fans when we say we want to see you have a phenomenal season, get to that tournament, and just be successful.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I mean, obviously, not getting a ring in high school my sophomore year, it'd be nice to kind of go out and get a ring my last year of organized basketball. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll be in touch, and maybe during the season, even once things get rolling. But hopefully things go well at Cleveland State for you. You deserve it.
Yep. Thanks, Foster.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Located 8 miles south of Lake Linden on Bojack Road, the Dreamland Restaurant's your choice for great dining. Family owned and operated for over 100 years. Whether you're in the mood for Mexican Monday specials, burgers, pizza, or Friday fish fry, Dreamland is your next stop. Questions? We got some questions. We got some new people this week too. We got a new one, and we have somebody who was arisen from the dead.
Yeah, that's I have not heard from him for a while. Hey, I was looking up something. This is kind of off the listener question. Did you see that? What the hell is Stefan Diggs doing, eh?
Yeah, I don't.
Did you see that?
I did about 14 seconds of looking at that stuff and just decided I just don't care. The only thing I noticed is that there was somebody put it on Twitter, and then they posted about it, and they said, if you're going to rip on the guy, at least spell his name right.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
if you saw that.
he's a Patriot, which I forgot too.
Yeah.
He's over in New England, but yeah, apparently they had a little video of him partying on some boat and was handing out some pink powdery substance to some of those gals. So, like, did you see the post? This can't be his actual Twitter post, can
I
it?
would hope not.
Can't even pass out coke for hoes on a boat no more. This league is Charmin soft.
I do like that ending.
Oh God,
This
that's funny.
league is Sherman soft.
I can't imagine that's him. But anyway, yeah, let's move on here. We got
Okay.
some listener questions.
We got Painkiller or B-Dubs, I don't know which we're calling her this week. I overheard a conversation at a party recently commenting that that there seemed to be increasing Achilles injuries in the NBA Finals, speculated that it's due to more intense competition. Wondering whether both of you agree that there's been an upswing in Achilles injuries and what you think the cause might be. I guess I can't argue with that because it seems like on all levels, right? On TV and people we know have it. I got to be honest, I'm deathly afraid right now of doing that to myself when I try to run. I don't know what the answer to that is. I guess I don't know what causes your Achilles to snap. I guess that would be the first part of my medical research.
That is and as I was looking up a few things on that, did you know that the Achilles tendon is the biggest tendon in your body?
Yes. That's why it makes such a loud pop when it snaps, right?
Yeah, and it is. I don't get it. The amount of time in it, and it's not an injury that happens because of contact, where sometimes you have the breaks or ACLs, which I guess doesn't have to be contact either. But when the knee gets folded in or something, this is like a starting, stopping, landing from a jump type injury, and it's bizarro. I mean, there seems to be more of these. I read some stuff where a lot of the after COVID, when everybody was, shut down, that there was some of this stuff happened, but that I think that was focused more on just general population that were getting it, not professional athletes. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Do we have any doctors in our media staff that might be able to provide some medical background here?
not that I know of. Put that on the list of hires.
We'll put that on the poll.
But is it overusage? I mean, is it a result of the amount of lifting that people are doing now compared to what they did 15 years ago? That's creating some of these issues for that tendon. I mean, it's got to have direct relationship to your calf muscles.
Yeah.
In baseball we talked about oblique injuries. Where the hell were those
Oh, yeah.
30 years ago?
Well,
You got one?
not injury, just
Oh yeah, the softball season.
yeah, just still a little bit recovering. Took a couple thunderous cuts and can still feel it.
Did you get on base?
I had a couple good shots.
Nice. Well, last year you hurt yourself too, right?
Oh, I popped a hammy last year. Yeah. Let's just put it this way: we're gonna gradually increase acceleration as we're running, not making a mad dash out of the box. But I guess I don't have an answer for painkiller. It is a good question, and maybe it did happen more often, but now the media, it's more in the media. Maybe it's all part of that. But I guess I don't know.
When I read some of this stuff, the incidents, of the Achilles ruptures are up in the last number of years. So I don't know what else to say to it.
Maybe
other than,
people are drinking all this almond milk instead of drinking real milk.
well, and the two, Lillard and Tatum, those were just stopping type injuries.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a hell of a question. Anybody that knows anything more than we do, which wouldn't be hard, feel free to let us know.
All right.
What else we got?
Well, you're up next.
Oh,
This one is geared for you.
Fulton Russ. It seems that listening to the lyrics may have run its course. I think Russ has run its course. Is it time for Visualize the Vocals, featuring local talent behind the microphone? If we want someone to come in and play the guitar, we talked about having Brad come in
Yeah.
a little bit. We did play Mystery Song, Mike Stever
Yeah.
and Nick. But as far as making that a consistent part of this show, ain't gonna happen. So thanks, Russ, and listen to the lyrics. We'll live on.
All right. We got somebody new here. We have Swampy Steve.
Swampy Steve doesn't say where he's from either, huh?
There was another name on there, but I don't know if that was his name or the town.
Try pronouncing that one. Did
No.
you see that?
Yeah, I did. Let's just call him Swampy Steve.
Sounds good.
All right. He's short-time listener, first-time emailer. Number one, what's the state of high school baseball in the UP? Any uncommitted hot prospects? Any non-school private training facilities, travel teams to look for? Number two, because you're in the entertainment biz, who is your fictional goalie you want between the pipes to stop the Michigan or any game-winning goal? Dennis Lemieux, slap shot, Sub-Zero, running man. Number three,
That's a great question.
I know you are Poncho Lefty fans, but how about a breakdown on my favorite Willie collaboration, Seven Spanish Angels?
Well, I'll start with that real
Did
quick.
we do that already?
Very good, Mr. Crouch.
Thank you.
So Swampy Steve needs to go back and,
So he's just started listening, now he's going to dictate what... That's not a good way to start.
well, he needs to go back to episode 45, and that will answer the question. You don't have to listen to the entire episode. Doesn't matter to me whether you do or don't. But the end of it, listen to the lyrics there, episode 45, was Seven Spanish Angels by Willie Nelson and Ray Charles.
Yeah, I think we got to do a little better job there, Swampy Steve, of doing some homework before you start interjecting questions like that, knowing full well that you're going to be on his list.
Yeah, and to answer the question, it was just, an outlaw and his lover in a race against time and a posse.
Baseball.
God didn't spare him. So let's, the baseball part, why don't you speak on that?
I don't think there's a lot. I know, like I said, I know Norway's got a good team. They got a couple of good kids down there that are very talented. Gladstone, Escanaba area usually has pretty good baseball. as well as softball. I'd say if you're looking for the best baseball in the UP, it would be down towards the Gladstone, Escanaba area. Negauni's been good times, but I don't know that it's
Yeah,
a
and
lot of hot prospects.
and part of it is too, when you mentioned going down Escanaba and Gladstone, I'm not sure how Swampy Steve, how familiar he is with the UP, but you know, the seasons, spring sports seasons up here are tough. We mentioned it over and over. The amount of swings and the amount of throwing and fielding ground balls and the amount of everything that you can do baseball wise here compared to southern
Yeah.
states or western, anywhere, right? It's tough.
And as far as non-school, I think there is a place in Escanaba. I'm almost positive there is, but it's like an indoor facility for playing. But other than that, there's nothing.
Nagani built, they built
Yep.
that in.
Oh, yep.
They
They have
put
their
some money
indoor
in there.
there.
They got a nice indoor facility, which actually it's a hell of an idea. You know, it'd be nice if all schools had the money to be able to pull that off. But you know, the Nagani kids now they can go in there. There's tennis courts, probably weight facilities, enough room to do sprints, at least at 40. You
Yeah.
know, and then the batting cages and all that stuff. So you get some of that. Action that you can't do outside in April because it sucks up here.
And May, most of May.
Yeah.
This is a good question. Who's your best fictional goalie? As soon as I saw this, I texted you the first one because I don't even know really what a fictional goalie is, but with all the stuff you're seeing on the passing of Norm from Cheers, how can you not go
You
with
nailed it.
Carla's husband? Is it Eddie LeBecq?
Eddie LeBecq.
He was the goalie for the Winnipeg Jets, or something like that.
I can't remember.
But he was a goalie. Did he get killed, run over by a Zamboni?
Yeah. And then
I think that's the answer.
and then it was Nick Tortelli was the other one.
Oh yeah,
That was Nick the second husband?
he was the greasy.
Nick was the
Shady
yeah.
one.
She was married to him prior to, and he had a cameo show episodes that would come in
Yeah.
there. And but yeah, he got killed by it, ran over by a Zamboni.
Yeah.
That's a tough way to go.
It is, but anything to stop the puck, I guess. So I think I'm going with him. I don't even know any other ones.
The only thing I thought of was go back and watch Slapshot.
Yeah,
Who was
I
the
don't
goalie
know.
there? I'm wondering if that's what he's referring to.
I think
but
it is.
I can't imagine topping Eddie LeBeck's hell of a job with that one, Croce.
Gave his life stopping a puck.
Plus married to Carla. I mean that couldn't have been easy.
No.
All right, next we have the whack job back. He says he's lost track of his favorite sports teams, Tigers and Brewers. There's two teams again. Been spending too much time watching, playing basketball and soccer while living out of state for the past 15 years. Back in the UP now, and I'm thinking baseball might be worth paying attention to again. Can you guys give me a quick synopsis of local teams? We're back on this again. And their postseason chances. Is Yelich the second coming of Robin Yount? Is Skubal the second coming of Jack Morris? And he misses Ernie and Uke. So do I. Go from the backside of this. Yeah, Yelich, well, first of all, he's an outfielder, and now he's just DHing. Although Robin Yount did move to center field in the second half of his career. Comparable in the fact that they've been the face of the Brewers franchise. Yelich has the last number of years an MVP season, but he's not going to be the Robin Yount of the Milwaukee Brewers ever. There will be no other Robin Yount. Yelich is a good dude though, and I'm feeling way better about his performance the last
You were
week.
ready to trade him 2 weeks ago.
He's a great guy. Back injuries have been an issue with him. The Skubal thing, two very different pitchers, Jack Morris and Skubal.
Yeah.
But the Tigers, obviously, they got something in this guy, and they got to get him signed up. And I don't care how much money it's going to cost them. I think they know that. The other one, speaking of that, it'd be interesting to see what Luke's Pirates do with Skeens.
Yeah.
They don't have them. I mean, how the hell are they going to re-sign him?
Well, maybe Skeens should come to Detroit.
He's dating that little gymnast.
I saw that.
So anyway, yeah, get on the baseball. You got the Tigers in the American League, best record. Enjoy the hell out of it. You got your second favorite team, the Brewers in the National League. Oh my God. Can't deal with that. All right, move on to the other parts.
All right. Apparently this guy's still alive. Howdy, boys.
Howdy,
Paul. Paul from Boise's back. During a 2-month stretch in 1968, Bob Gibson had 12 starts, 12 complete games, 12 wins, and an ERA of .5. As a comparison, through the first 2 months of 2025, today's soccer-playing mama boy major league pitchers have a combined 8 complete games. Could you compare Gibson's streak favorably to DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak? What other streaks stand out in your mind during a season of any sport? You are correct. The 12 complete games, that's done. The fact that I got to see one this year might be the last one I ever see in my life.
Yeah, but I don't know if we can just blame these pitchers and call them soccer.
No, it's not the pitchers. It's
It's-
all the general managers.
And yeah, it starts with the amount of money. How much was Bob Gibson making back in the day, right? The amount of money that these, and there we just mentioned it, the Pirates got to sign Skeens.
Yeah.
All right, so the money they're putting in, these franchises they're putting into these pitchers, you got to protect them. You know, it's just the way it is, which is why you rarely see guys go through the 6th inning. You know, I think maybe that'll change a little bit come playoff time, but yeah, it's the nature of the sport right now, and I don't think that'll change moving forward. Those guys, it's just a stat of the past.
It is. And I still think we got to get rid of the middle relievers and just bring in 2 more starting pitchers, because you see what happened to the Tigers yesterday.
Yeah, Brisky.
Skubal comes out, and now you're bringing in guys.
Where was his pitch count when they pulled him
He
yesterday?
was like 90.
So he was right up in that area. Yeah.
But and again, not that this has anything to do with this question, but it just drives me absolutely nuts. Nobody ever grows up wanting to be a middle reliever. They're your worst pitchers on your staff, and you're bringing them in after your stud has pitched 8 innings of 2-hit ball.
Anyway, when I looked at the streaks, I started thinking about a couple that should be mentioned, and did a little bit of research, very little.
You've been working. You actually worked. You had a good week this week.
Well, you know,
Setting up an interview, researching, medical journals.
all done with it in the last day. So, a couple. Well, on the way here, I'm going to ask you a little trivia question.
Okay.
Yesterday, 31st of May, 1982, May 31st.
Okay.
What streak started?
In 82. Okay, so.
One of the great, probably unbreak. It'll never be broken.
Was that Cal Ripken?
You got it.
That was.
Very
That was
good.
82. I was actually thinking that might have been a little bit earlier, but
Yeah. So yesterday's date, 1982, Cal Ripken's
do you want
2,632 consecutive games played streak started.
the lineup for the Atlanta Braves in 82?
Horner, Chambliss, Murphy. Chambliss wasn't there, was he?
Yeah, first base.
Was he? I don't really want to go any
Okay.
farther than that. But how about this one? Here's a couple quick ones I'll throw
Well,
at
look
you.
at the research you got done.
These things popped up and I thought it was kind of cool.
I think this 2-week hiatus every time is really reinvigorating Oj.
Well, it should. Plus, I haven't seen you in like a week.
I know.
It's been a nice break, eh?
Yeah, it was. I had to drive to Mass City Thursday night.
Edwin Moses, 122 consecutive 400-meter hurdle victories.
Oh, that's a tough race. That is.
Now, so we're not talking, what are they, 300 lows, 300 hurdles here, but it's, so he won 122 straight 400-meter hurdles competitions. That's not bad. So, very dominant. Now, I had no clue on this one. We always talk about Gretzky's streak got beat by Ovechkin, right?
Ovi.
Gretzky had 51 consecutive games with a point.
That's pretty good.
And then it said, in the article, it said the second most, and I don't know when this article popped up, was Gretzky with 30.
Okay.
So that was cool. And then, do you know who holds the record with 59 consecutive scoreless innings pitched?
Yes. It is Oral Hershiser.
Bingo! You are
I remember
freaking
that.
sharp today, Croce.
I do remember that. I'm glad that I knew those because I'm not really good with a lot of those other things, but
No, you're on top of it today, and I'm sure our listeners are impressed.
oh yeah, I think we got to give all the credit to you, and that'll irritate the living crap out of Jesse.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah, this got to be the last week in this notebook, hey? One.
Careful flipping those pages out of there.
One.
Watch it. Listen to the Lyrics is brought to you by Kiwana Auto Body, located on Pine Street in Calumet. Quality collision and body repair since 1966. Stop by anytime, 8 to 5 Monday through Friday for a free estimate, but give them a call at 906-337-1203. I figured I should sprinkle a little Willie in every so often. Rather than waiting for my tribute to him after he passes away, I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Anyway, I thought about this song when Morty mentioned the documentary It Starts With a Song. Remember that a few weeks ago?
I do.
Morty came, talked about that. I think it was Netflix or whatever it was, but I watched that. It was all about the Nashville songwriters. So many of them were just hoping to write that perfect song that someone like George Strait picks up and makes a hit out of. Now, a legendary songwriter like Willie probably didn't record a ton of other people's songs, which is why I thought for years that this had to be his. It's the perfect Willie song. It was released in 1989. It was his 14th #1 hit. Nearly everyone has regrets, and this song is about realizing that there's nothing you can do about it now. He could cry for the time he's wasted, but that's a waste of time and tears. Here's Willie with Nothing You Can Do About It Now, a song written by Beth Nielsen Chapman, of all people.
All right, Oj, that is going to bring episode 103. Put that bad boy to rest. Get our tens of fans back in the podcast listening. And you got people complaining that we're doing it every other week?
No, I've heard only a couple comments, and both of them been positive, I guess. I don't know. Some of them like this format.
Okay. I just keep forgetting like topics that come up, and then we.
Yeah, like if something happens today,
Yeah.
where are we at? But I don't know. I enjoy it for the summer, and that's the way it's going to be. So.
Next, make sure you're liking all our stuff on social media. Hey, that YouTube channel's getting some likes. Got the episodes up there. One of the clips we put up there with Coach Graybold and his golf game, they got like 3,000 hits. Maybe, but our next episode 104, we will have another interview with somebody that I think a lot of our listeners, a lot of people our age are gonna.
A teaser.
It is, and probably somebody that I bet you a lot of our listeners have kind of not paid attention to.
Yeah, it'll be a good one, or we hope it will. Maybe it'll suck, but yeah.
We're gonna have fun talking with them.
And haven't heard from them in a while. I talked to them the other day, so yeah, it'll be good. Other than that, in a week, get through this grind, right? Then things change. Summertime.
You got that right. Last week of school, we're gonna miss the kids. See you, Oj.
Talk to you later, Crouchy.